Hello everyone, welcome to the Trey Olds Radio Show. I'm Trey Olds. Happy Monday, and my blessings to you all. Today we'll be interviewing actress Miss Connie Lamothe. Join us in a few seconds, and we'll be right back with the show. So my first question is, how did you get started in the entertainment business? How did you become an actress?
Well, that began when I was a little girl, and I wanted to be on stage. I was in kindergarten, and in my elementary school, they had these kind of big assemblies each week at the beginning of the week, and the assemblies would include things like the Pledge of Allegiance, and we would stand and sing songs, and they would do announcements, and they would do other things. I don't really remember what they were, but they always were led by, like the 6th graders or the 5th graders, and they would stand up there with a mic, and they would lead these morning assemblies. And so I wanted to do that. And I talked to my mom about it, and she helped me write a letter to the principal. And so the principal wrote back and said he'd love for me to lead the assembly, and so I did. I was just 5 years old, and I stood up on the stage, and I had the microphone, and I led the assembly. I wasn't afraid. I was really excited, and I thought it was really fun, and I just couldn't wait until the next time I could do something like that. And so as a little girl, I did all kinds of things like, have neighborhood performances. I had little drama clubs. And then as I got older, I got more involved in theater and did theater for many years. And then I did professional theater. And then I was modeling. And so it really just was something that kind of started at 5, and it just went all kind of throughout. And it's really been throughout my life.
Yeah, I find it very interesting. Acting and entertainment as a whole, very interesting, because there's so many divisions you could go from: theater, acting, voice acting, directing, all kind of different fields to jump into.
This is very true. Especially today, it even gets, there's so many different avenues for someone to explore, and there truly is something for everyone. I believe that wholeheartedly, and that's one of the things that with my talent management company, CCL Talent Management, that is one of the things that I try to promote, is that there's pretty much a place for everyone. If you just have the heart and the passion, you can do it.
Yeah, you have to enjoy that craft. You have to
Well, you can enjoy, there are people that like, of course, to be in front of the camera, but there's also people that like to be behind the camera. So I have lots of people that I've known over the years they're amazing, they're so talented, and they're gifted, but yet they prefer to work their magic, behind the scenes. And then, of course, you've got the other folks that want to, they enjoy the limelight. They like the pressure and, and the excitement and all of the things that goes along with it. But it is true that there is a place for anyone.
Yeah. What is the most difficult or challenging part about being an actress and working in the entertainment business?
I think the most challenging part is that when you are not located in Hollywood, and I'll follow that up with another comment. When you're not in Hollywood and you're not in New York City or a major area like, say, Chicago, obviously there is not typically full-time work. Atlanta, that's another hot spot, of course. It's hard for people to find full-time employment. Now, you could be somebody who, say, went to college and got a theatrical, maybe you got a musical theater degree, or you could be someone who went to a film academy in New York. But the difficult thing about it is that it is really a job about auditioning. That's
Yeah.
really what it's about. You are, your goal needs to be getting in as many auditions as possible. And that really is what your job is. And then when you book something, that's just a bonus. And of course, it's very exciting and wonderful, and that's what you live for. But I think that a lot of people end up becoming very dismayed because they feel as though, oh, I've been trying this and I'm just not getting any work, and it's very frustrating. And this is true, it is. And that is why, there's a select group of people who make it and stick with it. And then there's, many people who will say, oh, when I was younger, I did this, I tried that, but just really depends on what your level of commitment and passion is for the work itself. A good way to know, what kind of person am I is when you're starting out. Say you're asked to be an extra on a film, and you have to sit and you have to wait most of the day. Now, at that moment, you're going to see people sitting there saying, oh, this is horrible. This is the worst thing ever. I will never do this again. This is a ridiculous waste of my time. And then you have the person sitting right next to them that's saying, I'm so excited. I can't wait. This is going to be so much fun. And that's, and that is, that's really the truth. The God's honest truth is that, some of us are cut out for it and some of us aren't. Again, also being, just those of us that keep trudging along and just keep looking and, constantly, it's a search every day, exhausting all the avenues, doing anything and everything in your power to be working versus, the person that just finds it really frustrating and, and that kind of thing. And that's, that's really, I think, what separates you from the people that will not last. So I hope that's a good answer to that question.
Yes, it is. Yeah, going back to auditioning, you go in for auditions, and most of them you get rejected. And
right?
Many people have given me this advice: do not take rejection personally, because they may be looking for someone else.
And honestly, Trey, being on the side of also being a producer and a director, with some of the films that I've produced over the years, when I have an idea in mind as to the character that I'm seeking, perhaps it was something that I wrote. So I have this mindset as to who that character is, what they look like. And so here I am at the auditions, and people are walking in the door, and I'm auditioning people, and all of a sudden here comes that person. And I'm thinking, that's exactly what it is that I'm looking for. Right? Yeah. So lots of times you're cast because you just fit the description of the character beautifully. Not that always happens, because on the other hand, I've had it happen where I had an idea as to a character I wanted, and no one matched that description. But I also had some extremely talented people show up, and so I was able to, cast it just based on their talent alone. But I think a good bit of the time, especially in casting, it's so specific. I'm looking for somebody that's this tall, that's this kind of a body build, that has this color hair, that, that can play tennis, and, that type of thing. It gets very, very specific. So usually, I think you're right by saying that, you want to let people know that this is not meant to be taken personally. It's just that you don't match the description usually, and or your talent didn't live up to the expectation of the casting director or the director or producer who's ever running the audition.
Yeah, because it does take a lot of hard work, because some auditions most of the auditions you may not book, but a few you will. It just...
That's the way it works. And when all of us were little and we're asked, what is it that you want to be? When we're very young, typically we get answers like, well, I want to be president of the United States. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to be a famous actress. I want to be a dancer, that kind of thing. And, even with, I often think about this and use this analogy when I'm talking to my talent, is that a lot of times little boys will say, I want to play pro football. I want to play pro baseball. Right? And so they start out and their parents get them involved and they play football or they play baseball for a number of years. And then as they get bigger, it starts to get a little harder. And then a lot of them, by the time they're, in middle school, have already dropped out. Mm-hmm. And so it's really just a small percentage of those that actually go on. And it's really the same in the acting industry. It's just the same. Many people start out that way with that big dream, but it's really only those that just keep putting that one foot in front of the other each day, never giving up, saying, I can do this. This is my passion. This is what I love. I will never stop. And those are the ones that, have great success stories to share.
Yeah. Because I hear a lot of the times most people, younger people like me, but I try to be realistic, but a lot of people just want to, they got that mindset, are they going to be a big movie star or are they just in it for the money? Well, it's not usually the case. That doesn't how it works,
Yeah, and I think, of course, running a talent agency, I have some of my talents say, that's absolutely, I want to be a star, I want to be, and I think that's marvelous. But I think it's also okay to say, I just want to take this as far as I can. Mm-hmm. I love it, and I just want to, honestly, for myself, that's always really been my goal. It's not about stardom or anything along those lines. It's really just about loving doing what I do.
Yeah.
And, and I think, for myself, I've been involved in entertainment, in theater acting or film acting or, all the very things I do. Produced and directed my own films, been in many films, played leads, played extra roles, played everything. Mm-hmm. And I just do it because I love it. And, I think that's kind of a healthy attitude, is to just kind of, you just keep trying. You always put, you give it your best and you let it, you just keep going with it, and you don't get overwhelmed. You don't let, when you have those very dry spells where nothing is going on, you don't let that, get to you, and you don't quit. You never give up. You always keep going. And I think there's a lot of success associated with, that kind of attitude.
Yeah. That's the key to success, hardworking and never give up,
Yeah, that's true. Well, we all know that's one of the most famous little small phrases there are. Never give up, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you have any upcoming projects? You said you were a director and producer, and do you have any upcoming projects as with that, or acting, or anything else?
Oh, I do. I am, I've just finished working with my talent on we had a beautiful fashion show, and then I had some of my performers. I have a young gal who is 15, and she's just a marvelous stage singer, performer, dancer, really cute and dynamic voice. And so she, and then my another young man who's 16 years old, who's an incredible rapper, so talented. And so between them and the models, we were performing over the weekend, and that was quite exciting down at that beautiful Crystal City Hilton right near Washington, D.C. And so